Okay, let's see if I pull this up here. I think this shows us as live. So I'm going to put. All right, we'll see how I put it back in chat. So we'll see if that works.
Okay. Okay.
Although, are you? Hold on. I don't think that's the right one. I think this is the right one. There we go. This is the right one. Let's see if we get people in on that one. Hopefully, I'll wait and see.
Okay.
I'll wait and see if the viewers end up changing here. Someone type something in chat once you're back in. Okay, I see one viewer. I'm hoping that's not just me having it pulled up. Let's see if this works here. Hey, all right. Kevin sent a message, so we're back.
Okay, fantastic.
Beautiful.
Phenomenal.
All right. So hopefully everyone saw that.
Did I miss anything?
Well,
no, actually no, it cut out at Edmund. Because I went back and watched the stream to see the stream cut out.
Yes.
So it was the Edmund deal.
Yes. So I was just talking about I was sending Edmund to Brendan pretty much because he was giving me what I was asking for, that I thought was a fair price for Edmund. That a couple of other teams weren't willing to pay exactly that. So that happened real quick, and I just thought it was kind of to what I was saying earlier about some teams wanting to pay for certain things, like yourself, right? Just being willing to pay that little bit extra to get what they need. And I mean, Tommy's been a 3+ point per game player at 3 different positions this year. So I just think that seemed to be worth it. So
absolutely. Yeah, definitely helps Brendan, which I don't like, but
yeah. I hear you. And so then I essentially, when I was talking to myself, I talked about the Penango for a fourth. Not really much to talk about there. I'm assuming maybe Josh was just taking a shot on a guy. The next one, Kirk and Heineman, both going to Seattle, I thought was obviously interesting. John put them both up on the block. Josh being able to get 2 catchers that he can essentially start every day, I think obviously makes a lot of sense.
It's cheap for a full-time catcher, I think.
Yes.
So I definitely take that. It's a little annoying because you lose a roster spot, but I mean, how much could you really do with that roster spot to begin with anyway? So
correct.
Making a full-time catcher makes sense.
And when you're essentially guaranteeing you're going to get points from the catcher spot every day,
even injury, that's where it's even more powerful, because should anything happen to this starter, you have a starter.
Exactly.
So absolutely.
Josh, apparently, Josh, sorry, I think I did miss your message there at the end, right when stuff cut out, but he said that he wants to make sure you saw that he did accept your offer of a shoe for Mikolas. So, am I pronouncing it right? Is it Mikolas? Is that how you say it? Or
who cares?
Okay, fair enough.
Who cares what his name is? He doesn't deserve to have his name pronounced correctly. That's the issue with this guy. No, I don't.
Fair enough.
Mikolas.
Mikolas.
That's his new name. But yeah.
Okay.
Get right.
Sounds good.
Let McGreevy pitch.
Yeah, right. The next one, Hyura for a fifth, I thought was actually interesting because Jeff literally picked
this has been memed too hard for me to give an opinion.
Yeah, like he got picked up 3 days before that, I think, for $1, and then he got traded for a fifth, which it very well could be literally the last pick of the draft. So worthless to talk about probably, but I guess Hyura's getting playing time, so worth the trade. Another bigger name, Paredes, and $3 going to Brendan again, and him sending back Chase Davis, Tommy White, Chase McDermott. Thoughts?
I think they're all solid specs, but I think Brendan basically gave up. I think he got Paredes somewhat for free because he can replenish that with $3 fab.
100%.
So that's where it's like, this means nothing for Brendan.
Yep.
And Daddy gets the specs I think that he likes. Sorry, Mike popped. I mean, obviously I like Chase Davis. I like Tommy White in college. I don't know what that's going to amount to as far as him in pro ball. It doesn't mean translate much, especially his style of play.
Yeah.
McDermott's been I don't know. We're like post type probably. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think at this point we're probably post type.
Yeah, I'd say like double posting. Um, so maybe it's just like it's a close proximity arm that you can utilize later on down the line. You can get some free points, maybe long reliever. I don't know what they're planning on doing with McDermott. I don't think it's a phenomenal return. I have
No.
to say, and I'm gonna be snarky because it's my dad,
Yeah.
and I hold him to a higher standard
Because
than
you
everybody
can.
else.
Because you can.
Okay,
Yeah. Because you can.
this is like when I used to play third. And, he's hitting me hard ground balls, so the kids are getting softies. I hold you to a higher standard. Okay,
Yep.
but
Yep. As you should.
but yeah,
You're allowed to.
absolutely.
You are
But
allowed to.
honestly, I think the next deal is a lot better for him as far as the
I
dumping is concerned. But Brendan, I think, got off pretty scot free on
Yeah,
this one.
yeah, I don't disagree there. Had I,
Mm,
thought Paredes was gonna go for something like that, I might have even thrown my hat in the
sure.
ring
I
for
mean,
it.
no reason not to. Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. Yeah, next one, obviously pretty good. Josh also thinks I took a bunch of espresso shots because we're flying through a couple of trades. But honestly, Josh, I flew.
It's
through,
probably because it's his trades, and his trades are not as good as he thinks they are. That's what it is.
I mean, I also flew through Keston Hiura for a 5th-round pick. I don't know what more
Sue me.
analysis you want from that, but yeah, this one I think is actually really good. Partly because I had been in talks with Dylan on a different trade, but it included a couple of these players, or at least we were talking about a couple of these players. Aiden Smith included. Smith is a good prospect, has a lot of hype around him. Size wise, if I remember correctly, I think he's maybe a little undersized. But outside of that, obviously good prospect. And then yeah, the other three I think are decent returns as well, just in terms of what he could potentially get out of them. Duran, obviously, pretty good player, but yeah, I definitely think a better return on this end.
Yeah, the thing about Durant, he's so cheap that it doesn't really hurt anyone to get
Yeah.
that much of a capable guy. So I was very annoyed it was to Dylan. It's not what I wanted to see getting
Yeah.
Durant, especially like the
Yeah.
fact that he waited. This is, by the way, the first time we're starting to see Dylan start to make moves.
100%.
So
next
it's
three
about to get a lot
include
more
him.
dangerous from here on
So-
out for the AL West.
Yep.
And it's just not. That's just not what I wanted to see overall. But I still think the return is solid. Like
Yeah.
Caleb Fountain was the thing, a guy that I brought up that was stolen from me
Yep.
when I think Dylan wanted him in the draft, and then Jeff got him, and then immediately traded him to Dylan.
Yep.
Picked in front of me. But Cole Drake, I think, is a great pitching prospect. I don't think he's that highly rated at all, but
No.
I mean, I like his stat line.
Yeah.
I don't think he's probably one of the sexier options, but as far as a Fangraphs darling, I do like him.
Yeah. Which is good.
And like I said, Aiden Smith, solid prospect, probably undersized. I don't know. It doesn't normally translate well for the outfield. So I don't know what the projection is going to look like there. Luke Jackson, just a reliever. I mean, it's just standard reliever. I can't really talk much about that, but I think it's a much better haul than Paredes got. So I'll definitely take that for sure.
Yep. I agree. Yeah, Dylan's actually in the next two here, which is pretty interesting. He gave up a second and Arun Escobar, who is someone who's shot up.
Yeah, is he like mainly a Clegg guy? I feel like I've seen him everywhere.
I don't know, but he has everywhere I look. I have seen him as like a top 100
guy. Name's been everywhere. And so, you don't forget a name like Arun, where it's correct. Like, I think is it Aaron?
Yeah. So I think very interesting get by Mark. Compiling good spec, good pick, and then Kikuchi going to Dylan as well, trying to keep up with the rest of the AL West.
Yep.
Getting another good starting pitcher, and then obviously fourth back as well. I think I mean a good trade, right? I like Mark's side if I'm choosing a side, but I think it's certainly a fair trade by far. And then the last one, Muncy.
And this one pissed me off.
Muncy,
100%.
Jin, and $5 going to the A's. And then Alcantara and Dickerson going back to the Astros. Dickerson, a guy who I've looked into and liked a little bit. But yeah, what thoughts on that one?
I tolerated all the hijinks going on within the division until this trade. This is a personal affront. Evan has the audacity to beat me by a few points, and then on the back of Max Muncy's 30+ points or like 4 homer week he had, whatever, his best player on the team, which doesn't say much for his team, but shout out Max Muncy.
Yeah.
Then goes around on Tuesday, like a couple days later, trades Max Muncy to my rival at this point now, and gets back fine. They're okay. They're fine prospects.
Yeah.
I don't have much to say against them. They're
Nothing
okay.
special.
But it's truly just a sign of elite disrespect, I think, to do this deal in front of my face and expect me to just take it.
Elite,
I'm not going to take it. I'm furious.
The description of elite disrespect, I think, is a fantastic description of how when something like that happens, it is on the elite level.
Yes,
I would
S tier disrespect.
Yeah, guys, that's my fault for I wasn't even paying attention. I didn't have our Google sheet up the whole time as we've been talking about this. So
oh no,
I'll blame it on the espresso shots, Josh. I guess we'll just say that's what it was. But thank you for putting that back up there. Before we move on to the next one here, I'm just people are blowing up chats. I'm trying to talk.
Yeah, hopefully we've done good enough radio here to kind of people can paint a picture as to what deal we're talking about, and what's going on.
Yeah,
so.
Correct. He did mention that the Rockies are undefeated since Jair's come up, so that is fair, worthy of a mention.
Many people are saying that maybe the Rockies are maybe they got better. We don't know.
Who knows? Kevin wanted to mention that Chris Clegg said it's okay for Evan to get Luke Dickerson now. So apparently
he said that the other day. It cracked me up, man. Such a personal. The fact that Evan didn't even say no.
Yeah,
He wasn't like, no. Come on, man. Don't do that. Don't put that on me. He absolutely admits it for sure, which I respect the hell out of it. Clegg is a good guy to follow, but still.
And Josh also mentioned that he said he liked how the A's asked for a pitcher on the block. They're looking for a pitcher, and then the Astros put up JT Ginn on the block, and then somehow the A's also ended up with Muncy on top of Ginn.
It's disgusting. It's really just disgusting. It's like, oh, can you throw in Max Muncy?
Yeah, right.
I'm pretty sure happened.
Right.
Had to have been. There's no other real reason for it. Wild. And I'll give you Luke Dickerson. Okay, deal done.
Yeah, that's wild.
Lame.
All right, next one. Not anything shiny to really talk about. Andrew Morris in a second to Kevin for Pavin Smith and a fourth. Smith, multi-eligible guy, getting play time. Yeah. I guess it's worth it for Greg.
I'm disappointed in the Padres' buys for being a division leader.
Yeah, totally. I would have expected a little bit more, but Greg's also quiet, right?
I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in the West as a whole.
True.
The NL West has been so passive.
Yeah, Joe hasn't done anything.
Rourke hasn't done a single thing. I don't think.
Rourke hasn't either. It's kind of surprisingly.
They're all there. They're all right there. And the fact that Allen was fourth and considering not doing it, that tells a story there and alone.
Crazy.
So basically, it's like I'm doing NL West things, and an AL West division just doesn't cooperate with what I want to do.
You know what
that
means, though. You know what that means. It just means it's another example of how the AL is better than the NL.
Oh, I know that. First of all, the owner group alone is enough to kind of put that out there. But it's getting a little bit feisty. I'm a little worried how this is going to end up. I don't want to call out another owner leaving, but it's getting a little hot down the line.
Right.
It's
just a little bit.
I don't know how this is gonna. I don't know how it's gonna play out. It's gonna get quite ugly quite quickly.
Yeah, I agree. And
I might be the one to lash out. I don't know.
Josh did make a good point though. He said, "Why would you do anything if the coin's just going to flip against you half the time?"
That's a phenomenal point, actually. Right? No one's thinking like that, really, except for one guy I know.
Right.
But
he happens to be in the NL West too, I think, if I remember correctly.
But maybe it's just looking at who's in your league and saying that it's not worth it.
If
I don't
no
want
one
to
else is doing it, why would I?
I don't want to deal with the East.
Yeah.
No one in my division's making it hard for me. I'll just stay put and not give up anything and make it to the playoffs anyways.
Yeah.
Maybe by luck, by happenstance.
Yeah.
Someone's got to win it, but that's kind of my reasoning. Someone's got to win it. Someone's got to pick their opponent. Maybe it's just getting thrown to the meat grinder with the NL, but someone's got to do it.
Yeah, very very interesting stuff. We'll see. There's still time too, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Soraka to the Blue Jays for Glasnow and $6 to the Cubs. Cubs taking obviously a shot on Glasnow, getting $6 back. So I think Frank is now +7 in FAB from the trades that we've talked about.
Yep, we're making progress here.
Yep, we're moving back up. And then another trade between the Cubs and the Rays. This was obviously a somewhat bigger one, considering he put his one notable prospect on the block in Sproat. So Sproat in a third to the Rays for Heaney and Palante. I know you may have a take on Palante and if that's worth it or not. What are your thoughts?
fucking hate Andre Palante. It's not even his fault. It's not even really his fault. He just sucks, and all he doesn't know it. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's fine. I get it. But if you need a pitcher, fine. But this falls under the same Mike List category I have.
Yeah.
Again, I loathe most of the St. Louis starting pitchers. Most of them.
Yep.
Sonny Gray, you're fine. I like you. You can stay. You can stick around. Everyone else go to hell. So that's pretty much my consensus on that. But this is fine. It does what you need to do. You need to get starters.
Yeah.
You need to give up the one spec that you got. That's fine.
It's fine. It's probably not the return you might expect.
Not for Sproat. I mean, Sproat's not like, I don't know. Sproat's a good prospect, but you would think you'd get more than these two.
Well, it's Frank's first time, right? So maybe.
Oh yeah, I guess it is. I didn't think about that.
Maybe he doesn't know what to do with a good spec. Maybe he doesn't know what the return is, right? He's never really dealt with it before, so there could be a little bit of that inexperience in it as well. Josh wants to know if you'll send him Palante for the other shoe, though.
Well, I mean, listen, having a fresh pair of shoes is not bad.
It's not.
So perhaps I can make a nice parlay here and just get two shoes out of the whole deal.
It'd be great. Might help St. Louis too. Who knows?
Oh, 100%. Yes, absolutely.
Next one, not really a dump one, but Guardians get a 4th and the Cubs get a 5th and $1. So now he is +8, which is great. The A's picking up another pitcher here, Liberatore and a 2nd, and sending Frank a 1st, which I thought that was actually a pretty good return. Frank being able to get that 1st.
I poked around on Leibs,
even though he had to send a 2nd back. But
yeah, I poked around on Leibs, and he wanted that, and I kind of balked at it.
Yep.
I was like, I only get him for this year,
2025.
And
hard to do that.
Leib's been fine. Like he's one of the good ones.
Yep.
But again, the other shoe might drop. So so you're kind of waiting on that to bomb out at some point.
Yep.
I mean, the guy's a Cardinals pitching prospect after all. He doesn't mean anything these days.
Exactly.
So it is a great return, I think, for Frank.
Yeah.
And Dylan gets exactly what he needs. Another starter. He's just piling it on now.
Yep.
Just moving up the ranks in the AL West once again. He's already leading the division. He's just getting better. So that's pretty annoying. But it needed to be done for both sides, and I think it's beneficial for both as well. And plus, he gets a 2nd back, so let's not diss on the return too much, because he still gets a decent pick out of it. Yep, absolutely
correct. Nats get 2 Spark guys. No, I don't think nothing special about that from your dad's side of things. Getting Swan and Alvarez back, two shot in the darks, probably right.
Yeah, I mean they're cheap guys. If they pay off, they pay off.
Yeah, I guess moving Harper obviously was a big one. Harper gets sent to the Cubs. The return of Bryant, Blanco, Bernal, and Myers. Interesting. 3 true MLB guys. I guess he gets an actual lineup, right, of guys, which is great. I don't know. I'm not sure if that's the route I would have gone with Harper. Maybe that was the only option he had. But I can't imagine. I mean, I guess if Blanco comes back, I think he's cheap. And so if he comes back and is good, then that maybe in and of itself would just be worth it, right?
Blanco's $4 through 2027.
Yeah, so
which that's a little scary having a pitcher that long.
Yes.
But
especially one that
having a pitcher that cheap, not scary at all.
Yes.
But yeah, when you're injured, it's a lot scarier.
Yep. That's the only reason. If Blanco's not injured, this deal's looked at completely different, right?
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
definitely.
It's a very, very different vibe to it, because Myers, good starting center fielder. Bryant, obviously getting playing time. So, it's not a bad return, and it makes it even better if Blanco comes back and he's fine.
And it's his first TJ. Maybe you got enough on the ticker there to kind of skate by through 2027, and then after that his arm blows up again. Maybe that's what you're hoping for.
Yeah, we'll see. Who knows?
But I guess like if you are dumping and Harper's doing nothing for you, getting Blanco kind of rocks.
Could be worse.
Bryant. No.
Yeah, playing time maybe.
What's the Myers contract on? $7 for first, and he's netting you 2.5 a game. I don't know if that's really keepable.
Yeah,
per se.
It depends.
752 OPS is not out of the sport. It's not that bad.
Yep.
In 292 through 59 games this year.
Yep.
That's not. I mean, That's probably keepable. I don't know. I don't know where we're at
I
on
don't think
Myers there. Maybe not.
anyone. I don't think anyone would like be upset at keeping that, but you
No,
also
it's so cheap.
probably could throw him back in the draft and maybe get him for the same price, next year. So it's kind
Yeah.
of like give
Well,
and
it's
take.
like how much like Jake Myers. If you
Correct.
pay that next year, yeah, at least you guarantee you lock it in.
Correct.
So that's a little helpful. And then Bernal, I think he's fine. I don't think he's
Nothing
I
special.
don't think he's the best catching prospect the Cardinals have.
Yeah, nothing special.
But yeah, it's also the catching department of the Cardinals is a little bit of a logjam at the moment.
True.
So
True.
we'll see what happens there if he even sticks around. Maybe a trade will help, but the Cardinals have to do something first for that to happen. So good luck
Yes.
seeing that. Um, but as an overall return, Blanco's it all depends on Blanco how
Correct.
that works out
Correct.
because this could be a bad trade or a phenomenal trade.
Yep.
So
Hard to know. All right, we got two more. The ones that happened just yesterday. Letson
mhm.
going to Mark for Cruz and a third. I actually really liked Letson as a prospect. I was sad to see
I'm
him
getting
go
a
to
little
Mark.
worried about you right now. I
Um,
feel like we're liking a lot of the same prospects, and this is not boding well for me down the line.
really liked him. He was in some conversations with Dylan and I as well. So I think a good get by Mark there, but not a bad return either. And then the last one happened last night, bigger one. Obviously, Paddock was put up, I think, on the block initially. That was kind of the trigger, I'm sure, for this. But Adamus, Paddock, Gallon, Herner, and Moore all going to Sam. And I know Sam's kind of looking to buy. He said he was looking to buy some MLB pieces. But I guess an interesting return with Birdie, Outman, and Estrada going back to Mark in Cleveland. Thoughts on that?
Okay, I want your thoughts because I'm very biased on this. I think it's batshit insane Sam's trying to buy right now. I mean, after what we've done to him.
Yeah.
However, unbiased take, what's your opinion on it? Because I have a very, very biased take at the moment.
So I just realized I was like, this trade doesn't look right. And Kevin, thank you for confirming it. O'Neal Cruz was also in this deal. O'Neal Cruz went
Oh,
to
I must have just like completely, dude. I may be committing hijinks right now, the highest order. What is going on? What even
So yeah,
happened
so
here?
I
Let
thank
me
you,
look at the
Kevin,
deal.
for throwing that in there too.
Shout out Kevin.
Cruz was in there as well because I was like, God, are these guys on
Is there
shitty
more
contracts? And
as
I just
well?
missed it, or I don't think so. I think
Literally the only player that's missing from this deal
it's
is the only player
Cruz.
that makes the deal make sense.
Yeah, correct.
Hold on.
Which obviously is
Zombie it. Hold on.
no, you're good.
Paste as that is only. Son of a bitch. All right, you know what? We're putting it on. I thought I was gonna put in all of his. All right. Anyways, it's in.
Well, yeah, there you go. And it's not going to the Rangers, going to Mark.
It's going to Mark.
Yeah, he's going to Mark.
Ouch! This deal sucks. All right, never mind. Freaking Sam, dude.
I'm
I was like, oh, that
I'm
makes
pretty
sense.
sure.
You know, if
I
you're
mean,
getting
let me
Cruz
check,
out of
but
this.
I'm pretty sure it was Cruz going to Mark.
All right,
That
then
was
boo this deal.
Yeah, it was Cruz. Yeah. So Birdie, Outman, Estrada, and Cruz going to Mark, and then Moore,
Fuck.
Hunter, Gallon, Paddock, and Adamus going
This
to
is so
Sam.
much pressure.
So yeah,
We're
so
in.
there, that's the deal. So obviously, Mark getting a big piece in Cruz because he had Sam had put Cruz up on the block as well. That's kind of the big piece going back to Mark. But yeah, I think to your point though about Sam buying specifically. I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't think you were gonna buy. We talked about
It's
3 weeks
obviously
ago that
crazy,
you
but
weren't
it's
gonna,
also
right?
not like something I wouldn't do.
100%, 100%. And I also I look at Sam and I expect Sam to just do whatever other people think he wouldn't do or shouldn't do, right? So like him buying right now doesn't make a lot. Now, here's what I will say, and I think you and I talked about this potentially both in a DM but also on this pod before, that I am dumping, right? Like I moved some of my bigger pieces, but I also was trying as best as possible to try and get MLB pieces back where I could, or to get guys that I thought were close ETA, or to get pieces that I thought I could eventually move potentially for some other MLB pieces, right? Because I do not want to go back into the auction again next year like I did this year, where I had $216 to spend, and I spent 50 of that on 3, SP4, SP5 guys, who, one's injured, one I traded, and one sucks. So it's just like, what are you gonna do? There's only so much you can do.
I'm glad you brought that up because that kind of reminded me of another point of why I bought
Mm-hmm.
is I messed up in the auction by waiting on trying to get some players,
Totally.
thinking it was going to not drop off the way it did in the
Yep.
auction. I was left holding the bag of a
Yep.
fair amount of money.
Yep.
So it's like I have also the surplus of money I have nothing to do with.
You and I
So
talked about it
other teams don't
during
have it.
during the draft. We were bitching at each other about how much of a shit show it
Yes.
was trying to
Yes.
wade through, waking up every morning and having every player flipped, and not only
Yes.
flipped by $1, but flipped by $2, $3,
Oh my god,
just
dude!
because,
Adam,
for no
Adam
reason.
during like the pitcher run
Yeah.
where he's got like Burke and Littell and
Yep.
at this spot, yeah, he's flipping everyone for, and they're like 16, 17, $15.
Yep.
Like what I don't have the money to fill up my roster.
Yep.
So I was like, all right, we'll wait a little bit, and then I get Kyle Freeland for $5, which I thought at the time was like sweet. Obviously, it's not, but it's better than nothing.
It's fine.
So yeah, but to your point, the auction turns on you quick. So getting
100%.
out of that, 100%. Like my failure in the auction is kind of leading into this buying because I had such a surplus of money
Yep.
that I have an advantage over other teams.
Totally.
So for you, absolutely get the hell out of that.
Yep.
No,
Well,
no
and
reason to mess with that.
And it's not that I'm not gonna go into the auction with a lot of money again next year, because I most likely will, unless I add,
It's a curse, though.
something somehow. But I 100% will be approaching the draft differently next year, based on the experience this year. So that'll be different. That is it though for trades. We're fucking hour and a half in.
We're cruising. That was
is great.
quick espresso shot, Josh.
Hell yeah.
Hour and a half in. You guys
Hell
are
yeah.
taking way too quick. Well, how long do you want this pod to be, dude? We'll do Joe Rogan experience. We'll have a 3.5 hours. That's fine.
I just want to eat, to be honest.
Yeah, I know, dude. I know.
Gotta get some lunch in me.
I got home at like 3 a.m. last night on the road,
Jesus.
and I had like beef jerky. Well, it's like I cheaped out. Didn't want to get a hotel, so I just came straight home. All I had last night was like beef jerky yesterday. So like I'm not doing well at the moment.
All right, so I'm gonna move over to the tier list if that works for you. We obviously we can't leave out the tier list. And my assumption is, again, have not seen this, but my assumption is that this is going to be trade based in some capacity.
Yes. Okay. Yes, absolutely dump based for sure. 100%.
All right, so I have the main page up. You tell me when to go.
All right, we have our Infinity Stones all here. These are the big names that you have to get. Thankfully, only 2 of these stones are on one team. True. So it got well dispersed. Like I was afraid it wasn't gonna be. But we go to our first tier here, and they're just a notch above everybody else. I think it's pretty fair that post dump these 2 teams are in a tier of their own. And I think likely we're gonna see them come postseason. We go into our second tier. And these are teams that bought correctly. So that reminds me, we didn't even go through the buyers and sellers list. But that's not a big deal. That's fine. Okay. That's fine. We know what happened.
We're doing that right now. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, this is basically what this is. It's basically buyers and sellers. But these are the real buyers. These are the ones who know what it takes to get in the playoffs and compete. And if there's a little bit of subliminal messaging in here for those that are reading at home, it may spell out a certain thing. But this is
God, I love it. Oh, I love it so much. I love it so much.
Anyway, so all this buying has made me a very sad cow. But we go to the third tier, and we have playoff teams that like losing. These are teams that don't buy. And listen, if you're not going forward, you're going backwards. So it's a little alarm bells going off a little bit in these camps right now. There are some teams that I kind of thought should have extend themselves a little bit more, and they happen to not. So yep. We go to our next tier. This is the equilibrium of the league. This is what keeps the whole league in balance. And it's Paul Skeens. Like there's no one who is more content than the Rays right now.
Yes.
They dumped and they probably got better.
Yep.
For at least for next year for sure, down the line. But in a different way. Other teams are like, oh, I hope this will pay off. No, he's ready to go right now. So he is truly the balance of both sides of this league.
I love it.
So shout out Kevin for that.
Love it.
I still think it's a good deal overall. We have our dump tier. These are teams that dumped and got stuff back. I mean, it's a pretty straightforward tier. But we go into our next tier, and these are teams that dumped and they dumped hard and dumped in a much different way.
Yes.
Dump in the way that most would think dump is.
Okay.
These teams that did not really do much. And even if the Padres were kind of buyers, I'm still putting them in the derogatory tier.
Yeah.
I don't think it was enough to do much. I put most of the NL West in this tier.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that they did enough to really amount to anything. Our two traders. Like this is before I built this for Sam Delt. I'm still putting him in this tier, by the way, even after his deals, just out of pure spite.
Yeah.
And I also have Trader Gary. What the heck, Trader Gary?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Don't know where he
I
is.
poked around. He's active. He's moving around. I don't know what he's gonna do though. Worries me a little bit.
Yeah,
but
we'll
for
see.
right now, dump derogatory.
We'll see.
And our final tier, we have the Reds tier. What's going on with the D-backs? What they are completely AWOL.
Wait, no one knows.
Yeah, I've been knocking on doors here. No one knows what's going on.
Yep.
So, Lenny, I'm sorry I put you in this tier, but listen, someone's got to go in this tier. It's a totally different tier than everyone else as far as how rough the season's gone.
Yep.
And the D-backs are just so AWOL. We got to put them in there as well.
Yep.
They're not.
Lenny
it's not even dump derogatory.
He at least answers his door, though. I will say that.
Yes, correct. Yeah,
which
Lenny's
is why
great.
He's first in the tier. Yeah,
absolutely. This is a pro Lenny podcast for sure. But the Diamondbacks, I can't even suffice to call it a dump derogatory. Yep. Also, Lenny trying to buy somewhat makes him definitely dump derogatory.
Yeah, true.
I didn't even know what to think of that. I'm like, is this how I look? Is this how I sound to people when I say I'm buying? So, because I was like getting judgy. I'm like, dude, I don't think I have any room to talk whatsoever. Yeah. I don't think I should be saying a single thing about this. So the Reds and the D-backs, bringing it up, but yeah, this is our dump tier list post that
Love
June
it.
1st date. It was
Love
everything we hoped it would be and more. Granted, I have a lot. I've said it before. I have a lot of problems with the dump rule, and I will always voice them. However, it was Christmas. We had Christmas happen
100%.
this past week, and it was beautiful and it was wonderful.
100%.
Is it for the health of the league? Probably not. But God, it's for the health of whatever's going on today. I'll tell you that much.
It gives us all that boost of serotonin that we need to get to the end of the fucking season. That's
absolutely. Everyone gets to hold their little toys for the rest of the year, whether it be prospects or Kyle Schwarber. You get something. So absolutely.
Good old.
That tops off our June tier list.
Yeah, man, that is awesome. That's good stuff. All right, well, we're both hungry, so we're gonna go eat. Josh says, what he said. I wish I was in the room when Cal noticed that the second tier buyer spelled Sad Cal, and then he also said Cal is a genius. Which, to be honest with you, like from a production standpoint of this godforsaken podcast, I do most of it. But God, everything else, content-wise, is Cal. So you guys have him to thank for most of the laughs and the fun stuff on here. So
yeah, I could not do the production side of it. So absolutely, it's team effort here on the side of things. I was in charge of production for one time, and I completely shit the bed. So bless you for all the logistics, but I gotta provide something because you're doing all the legwork here.
The comedy, right? That's what it is. The comedy. All right, well, hope everyone enjoyed it. We obviously appreciate so many of you hanging out. That's awesome. Hopefully, the rest of you guys will get to watch this during the week or over the weekend. And yeah, we'll talk to you guys. We'll be back next week, Monday. We get to do this again in 5 days. Hopefully, not an hour and a half, but we get to do this again in 5 days. So yep. We'll see you guys back regular scheduled time on Monday. So that is all we got. Have a great rest of the week, and we'll talk to y'all again later.
Long live the AL best.
Hell yeah, brother. Peace.
Hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. They deceive with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow,